I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Welcome on board. President Muhammadu Buhari has now ordered a military crackdown on bandits operating in rural communities in Zamfara state, following fresh attacks on some communities in Shinkafi and Maradun local government areas. To enable the army carry out this new mandate, the president has approved the request of the Minister of Defense, Brigadier General Maso Danali, retired, for the stationing of a full battalion of special forces in the state and the operationalization of the newly established 8th Division of the Nigerian Army in Sokoto in the new order of battle. A statement from the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Shehu Garba, stated that the President has also approved the movement of the 1 Brigade of the Nigerian Army from Sokoto to Gusau upon the takeoff of the 8th Division. It says to tackle the desperate action of Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast through the use of mostly underage girls as suicide bombers, President Buhari has equally approved the setting up of an intelligence fusion center in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, for the purpose of gathering and sharing intelligence among the security agencies in the country. Garba says this phase of the war will be intelligence-driven, and the new center is expected to intensify the harvesting and sharing of intelligence so as to bring an early closure the desperate last-minute activities of the terrorists. President Muhammadu Buhari has now also says he will not condone embezzlement and diversion of recovered assets to private pockets. He gave the assurance while inaugurating an audit committee constituted to oversee recovered assets by the federal government agencies, saying his administration will ensure that recovered assets are redeployed for the country's development. State House correspondent Inabuchi Okenabuchi has more in this report presented from our studios.
Recovering looted national asset is one of the main agenda of the Buhari administration, and the federal government has in the last 2 years directed all effort at prosecuting alleged corrupt officers with some assets recovered. However, inauguration of the 3-man audit committee on recovered assets, according to President Buhari, is to prevent looting of recovered assets by those saddled with the responsibility of assisting government in the anti-graft war. Unlike the misapplied recovered Abacha loots, the president said all recovered assets must be accounted for.
Decision to inaugurate this audit committee on the recovery and management of stolen assets within and outside Nigeria today is therefore the next step in ensuring that all returns filed by the various agencies are accurate and consistent with actual recoveries made.
To achieve transparency, the president wants all ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, as well as corporate bodies to cooperate with the committee to achieve desired results.
I hereby direct and request all relevant ministries, departments and agencies, banks and companies to give the committee full cooperation, as your assignment is crucial not only to the harvesting of needed resources for our national development, but also in setting out a fresh template of public accountability.
Members of the committee see the assignment as a call to national duty and have promised to do their best to ensure success.
Good service, the national service. That's all I can promise Nigerians. We will not let the president down. We'll do our best to perform. We'll do our work to deliver.
He wants us to carry out very robust output, and we promise to give him that by the grace of God.
The president gave them 4 weeks to report back to government.
In the meantime, the Coalition for Peace and Stability has expressed support for President Muhammadu Buhari's fight against corruption. At a peaceful rally organized in Abuja, the group hailed President Buhari's commitment to the fulfillment of his campaign promises and restoration of security of lives and property in the country. Coordinator of the group, Comrade Abdulmunid Tijani, says they have followed with keen interest activities of government and will not mince words in congratulating the president on the positive report and achievement of his administration, particularly in defeating Boko Haram.
Global Terrorism Index 2017 and send a strong message to terrorists that the country will always win and terrorism will be defeated.
The presidential aide, Shehu Garba, who met them, told the crowd that the president is working daily to ensure the security of lives and property.
On the ranking of this country on the matters of global terrorism, which has indicated that Nigeria is successful up to 80 to 90%.
And now to the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, where the Senate has resolved to look into the problems of interagency rivalry. This is coming against the backdrop of the incidences involving the DSS and the EFCC on one hand, and another clash involving the NIA and the EFCC on the other in the last 2 days. Galaxy's Godfrey Shemoge reports that a motion by Senator Dino Melai from Kogi West set the tone for the deliberation, with the lawmaker describing the said incident as a national embarrassment.
A motion by Senator Dino Melai from Kogi State set the tone for the deliberation on the matter, with the lawmaker describing the said incident as a national embarrassment. Senator Melai thereby urged both the Senate and the Executive to investigate the circumstances leading to the widely reported incident. And in her submission, Senator Abiodun Olujimi, representing Ekiti South, said the lack of synergy in the operation of sister security agencies in the country has assumed disturbing proportion. Senator Olujimi therefore said the alleged breach in the activities of the EFCC have a long and controversial history. Speaking on the same motion, leader of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, said the EFCC needs not to be criticized unduly if its operatives had the authorization to carry out the said arrests. At the conclusion of the deliberation, the Senate thereby resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the matter. Recall that the issue of interagency rivalry has been long-standing, and the Senate wading into this particular issue could find a lasting solution to the problem.
The federal government is set to deploy technology to deal with challenges of illegal mining across the country. Addressing the State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, Minister of Mines and Steel Development Kayode Fayemi says Council approved the sum of 987 million naira for the purchase of 50 Hilux vehicles to deploy security personnel for surveillance operations in areas where mining activities take place. Correspondent Inabuti Oke Inabuti has details in this report presented from our studios.
With over $9 billion lost to the activities annually, government seems ready against all odds to tackle the menace. Minister of Mines and Steel Development Kayode Fayemi said that move has become necessary to check the activities of illegal miners with a view to saving the country such huge amount lost to the activity. Fayemi said the initiative is also geared towards complementing efforts of security agencies which have since set up mining offices to contain illegal activities.
We would significantly improve the revenue that comes from that sector, increase the contribution to GDP, increase the royalty to government, and also provide more jobs for our people. But this is just the monitoring and curbing side of that work. The other side of reducing illegal and informal activities is the formalization of small-scale miners and artisanal miners.
The council also approved 6.631 million naira for the recovery of a water pipeline linking Gurara and Usman dams in the Federal Capital Territory. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu said the class will also cover settlement of debts and training of local personnel who will man the project after it has been recovered from the contractors currently handling it.
So we presented a memo. We negotiated with the contractor to exit within the next 12 months so that the ministry and the FCT can take over responsibility for managing, for operation and maintenance of the pipeline.
Adamu said Water Resources Ministry and the FCT authorities are expected to jointly finance the project. 2 memoranda from the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment seeking implementation of Phase 2 of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan and the operationalization of Executive Order 1 on ease of doing business were also approved by the Federal Cabinet.
Mobilize the MDAs to do more, to consolidate the gains and also achieve more success in making business, doing business in Nigeria easier and investing in Nigeria more attractive. The third thing is that we also then updated the council on the work we're doing with the states to expand ease of doing business to all the states in the Federation, beyond just Kano State and Lagos State, which, as you know, are the 2 primary states that the World Bank Ease of Doing Business project ranks.
Wednesday's council meeting held at the First Ladies' Conference due to ongoing refurbishing of the council chambers.
You will accommodate your live updates and comments. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has inaugurated a fact-finding panel to look into the function and workings of state-owned tertiary institutions. The panel is set up to provide solutions to numerous challenges facing tertiary institutions of learning in the state, especially in the area of funding and revenue generation. Addressing the committee, the governor says the situation at state-owned tertiary institutions is worrisome and there is need to rejig the system for better results.
In accordance with extant statutory provisions, examine industrial relations among management, staff, and students, and recommend ways of achieving lasting peace and harmony. Examine the state of landed properties and other assets of university and polytechnic.
Stating some important areas the panel is expected to work on, Governor Akeredolu says the committee should do everything possible to create a way forward for tertiary education in the state.
Management of the universities like polytechnic, including subventions, grants, loans, and internally generated revenues, and determine their compliance with appropriate regulations.
National leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, has declared that the party will allow the internal politics in choosing its presidential candidate come 2019. Speaking with journalists at the country home of Afenifere leader, Pa Ruben Fasoranti, Tinubu says the issue of endorsement is not applicable as a primary election will decide who flags the party, who flies the flag of the party at the coming general election. He further says President Muhammadu Buhari is a believer of the rule of law and will never align with any form of backdoor arrangement to be the party's candidate for the coming election.
He is a believer in the process, rule of law. We wanted him before even the last convention and the primary of the party. And Akeredolu is here, standing with me. He was not a governor then. He was one of the leading delegates.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has now issued the certificate of return to Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State, Deputy Governor Nkemo Keke, and Nkolia Neze, elected member of the State House of Assembly representing the Demile North constituency. Correspondent Ajibade Awufesa has more in this report presented from our studios.
The event, which took place at the INEC office in Awka, the Anambra State capital, had in attendance traditional rulers, clergies, indigents and visitors who gathered to watch their governor take up the mantle of leadership which authenticates him to pilot the affairs of governance in the state for the next 4 years. However, the newly elected governor, escorted by a number of security personnel, made way into the venue. In their separate remark, the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Nkwachuku Oji, and the National Commissioner, May Agbamo Mbu, stated that the Commission stood its ground in ensuring that nothing short of a free, fair, and credible election was conducted in the state.
Let's work together as brothers. We are all one. The people of Anambra are all one. We are all Igbo people. Let's work together as one.
I also want to thank them also for supporting INEC. I also congratulate the governor-elect, Governor Willie Obiano, the deputy governor-elect, Dr. Nkeke, and the member of the Demile North constituency, Mrs. Bennett, calling Megwenese.
Each elected person signed copies of the INEC certificate and thereafter were issued original copies. In a swift reaction, the governor thanked the people who gave him the mandate, specifically to President Muhammadu Buhari and INEC for ensuring transparency.
I also want to thank the whole of INEC staff, particularly the chairman of INEC, the Red, and all the INEC staff that worked in this election for conducting this election in a free and very fair and transparent manner.
Others who came in to facilitate the governor said the victory was well-deserved, praying to see more of his tremendous achievements in his second tenure.
Chairman, House Committee on Works, Delta State House of Assembly, Honorable Evans Vurie, says the state government is committed to ensuring infrastructural development across the state. He made the remarks during an oversight function with members of the Works Committee to the controversial Asaba International Airport. Speaking on the delayed works after inspecting the runway, Honorable Evans spoke on the preparedness to investigate the construction works.
We are going to do beyond that. As you are aware, the House Committee on Work is properly represented here. The Delta State Ministry of Work is fully represented. Even the financing company and all of everybody is involved, all the stakeholders, to ensure the proper completion of this project. They are all on ground here. So we are going to do a very good job.
He stresses that the era of abandoned projects is over in the state, as citizens should have full value for their money.
And then abandoning job or not doing job is over. We will ensure that Deltans have full value for their money.
Recall that controversies have surrounded the runway construction of the Asaba Airport since it started during the administration of former Governor Duanga, while Okowe have since promised a speedy completion of the project. Leaders of the 5 trade unions and all the tertiary institutions owned by the Oyo State government have vowed to continue with the 2-week-old strike following the failure of the state government to meet their demands. The unions have also threatened to embark on massive street protests in order to draw the attention of stakeholders, both within and outside the state, to the poor attitude of the Oyo State government to the issue of education. In a communique issued and signed by the Chairman, Joint Action Committee, Babatunde Adeniyi, at the end of its meeting to review the 2-week-old strike, The unions disclosed that it is unacceptable and illegal for the state government to refer to the personnel subvention as grant or support, noting that the state government is not sensitive to the plight of 45,000 students. Responding to the allegations, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology in the state, Professor Adeni Oluwonifela, described the claims by the union leaders as baseless and unfounded, saying the government has not reneged on its promise.
We don't want a situation whereby we solve the problem now, re-emanate again. So that's why we say, okay, let's solve the administrative problem, then we look at the financial issues, then we also look at some other issues that will be permanent.
Meanwhile, the union has charged residents of the state to prevail on the government to do the needful in the interest of the students and the welfare of the staff of all the 5 state-owned tertiary institutions in the state. Let's take another breakdown and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.